himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So New off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot have fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final round of the Almost Pro Championship. Season number 6 has taken us around the world, and we end it off here at the United Arab Emirates. My name, of course, is Zach Sweeney, and alongside me, for once, in the commentary booth is one Mr. Darragh Thacker. He's going to be talking us through the action as well in what should well be a very titanic championship finale. Of course, the Teams Championship has been wrapped up. That was done by Ferrari a week ago when we took to Qatar. But the Drivers' Championship is well and truly up in the air. Ethan Shackleton versus Lewis Smith. They've been going toe-to-toe all season long. And Darragh, it should be a pretty good one.
It should be pretty good. I mean, Abu Dhabi, of course, it's a customary season finale, isn't it? We've come very much used to it now, so it should prove to be a good finale for the season. Good racing down towards turn 6, then again down towards turn 9 as well. So, looking forward to this one. Should be good.
Well, let's see how they get on. Of course, as you can see on the screen, Ethan must outscore Lewis Smith by either 12 points or 11 points and taking the victory if he wants to take his second Drivers' Championship in the APC. Of course, what we'll do is we'll head our way over into the race session at the moment. They're in qualifying 80 minutes as is standard, of course, on the F1 game. Probably the final ever broadcast we're going to do on F1 23. How important then, Darragh, is this qualifying session going to be? Not only, of course, for our two championship protagonists, but also then pretty much for everyone on the grid. What is track position meaning when it comes to 28 laps here at Abu Dhabi?
Well, I think, to be fair, if we're being honest, of all the tracks on this, well, really on the calendar, this is probably not going to be one where track position is terribly important. Of course, one of the easiest circuits to overtake, and of course, it's going to be useful to have that track position off the line to give you that confidence into the race. But Abu Dhabi is, you know, there are so many opportunities to make that overtake. You're thinking even down into turn 5. And if you've got the overspeed, you can try and find somewhere else around the lap to make it other than the DRS zones as well. But if nothing else as well, Zach, I think sentimentality is going to come into this, because if this is the last qualifying on F1 23, I think they're going to miss it somewhat.
That is true, especially when the successor is F1 24. I think there are going to be even a game like F1 23 is going to be missed. I think that just definitely goes to show the current state of the F1 games. But it's fine, because it's not going to be something I'm going to be driving or worrying about. Just to remind you the full extent of the championship standings. Of course, as we know, Lewis Smith versus Ethan Shackleton, that's 11 points between the pair of them. But then you've got an interesting fight for P3. Andrea Chenkovan, of course, partnering Ethan Shackleton for the best part of half of this season. He's already been able to climb his way into the top 3 ahead of Jordi Lansing and Kyle Stewart-Woodard, who are all very much locked in that fight for the podium place in the standings. Oliver Milner, our reigning champion, who is not going to be joining us here this evening. He would be there in 5th ahead of Thijs Moosbergen, Adam Watson, Drew Bliss and Connor Stewart-Woodard to round off the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. When it comes to the teams, of course, there you can see Ferrari are gone and in the dust, already wrapping up the championship on 350 points. So today it's just a little bit of fun for them. Maybe, of course, it alleviates some of the pressure, and Chenkovan can adopt more of a supporting role for Ethan Shackleton. But then you've got Mercedes and Aston Martin and Red Bull, who are all in a fight technically for P2 in the championship, particularly between Aston Martin and Red Bull, only a point apiece between the pair of them. McLaren from Williams and AlphaTauri, the final of our point-scoring teams, purely because the other ones haven't actually ever had a driver in them, and we'll get to that in just a second when it comes to Season 7. In fact, actually, we'll get to that towards the end when Kyle Stewart-Woodard, of course, our big boss man, can run us through some of the details, and maybe you'll fancy your luck getting onto the grid for the Almost Pro Championship. Times are coming in then, Darragh, thick and fast. A 1:23.3 just been set by Thijs Moosbergen. But then we translate into the race and onto strategy. Of course, it's definitely one thing hot lapping around Abu Dhabi, but it's a very difficult circuit over the course of a race distance.
Yeah, can-do tie wear is prevalent here, isn't it? I mean, two-stop strategy can come into view for some of these guys if they're feeling brave. It's a track where you can think about it. You might not want to go for it, but it's certainly not like a Silverstone where you are just doing a one-stop. There is no other way to do it realistically. So, yeah, I mean, the tyres they do wear, you've got to be careful on the fuel as well, and your ERS, because with so many overtaking opportunities, you really can't get trigger happy with that ERS. You need to keep that store relatively high most of the way through, because in that final stint when the drivers behind maybe going a little bit quicker may have saved a little bit more ERS, they're going to have a much easier time picking off some positions, which is, at this point, a critical stage of the season.
Yeah, it really is. Of course, Lewis Smith heading up for his first run in qualifying. He's had a pretty unfortunate run of form when it comes to qualifying. A couple of weeks ago when we took to Mexico, of course, his Xbox Live, is it Xbox Gold subscription, whatever it is, ran out just before the race. He forgot to renew it and couldn't get in before the start of the race. Of course, then struggled a week ago at Qatar and at Brazil, in all fairness, as well. So he really needs to come into this. He's on, he's on the front foot in the sense that he's got an 11-point lead. But in terms of a run of form in qualifying, do you think there's going to be some nerves in just trying to get that car up the grid?
I mean, there's always nerves. I mean, particularly for Lewis Smith and Ethan Shackleton, they're both surely going to be a little bit nervy. Even for the guys fighting over P3 in the championship, and there are 3 of them down there, you don't really want anything to go wrong, do you? It's kind of a bit of a cagey affair, final race of the season. And, yes, especially as some of these guys may have been playing on the new game the last couple of weeks. They've been trying to get used to that handling model. Getting back on this, it can take a bit of an adjustment. So, yeah, I think this caution, I think, is going to be the word of the day.
Yeah, maybe so. But then again, does caution open the door for potential missed opportunity in terms of lap time? Are you leaving too much just for the sake of securing it? I mean, in terms of Lewis Smith, at the moment, is there in P2, but who's the one beating him? Andrea Chenkovan, of course, Ethan Shackleton's teammate, and now with the alleviated pressure of the Constructors' Championship wrapped up and done, could we well see Lewis Smith, because he's not got a teammate in the form of Oliver Milner tonight, similar to what we saw, Abu Dhabi 21, God forbid I bring it up, I know, going to probably spark off the cult LH fans or whatever, but in a similar prospect where Hamilton was, isolated versus Verstappen and Checo, could we maybe see sort of a similar dynamic there with Shackleton and Chenkovan?
He might do. Again, the point is that Chenkovan, like I said before, does have that P3 battle to fight over as well. Only 4 points ahead of Geordie Lansing, who's currently in P3. Carl Stewart Woodward as well is in there, so got to be wary of that. But I think it just depends. I mean, I've seen leagues before where you've had 2 teammates 1 and 2, and they've fought it tooth and nail. They've acted as if they're not teammates at all. So it really just depends on the duo that you've got. Because when you have, I think for a lot of these guys, particularly in eSport community eSport racing, you're more likely to help your team because you're working for the team. Being league racing, it just kind of depends on the drivers, how long they've been here, etc., etc. So something we're going to have to look for, but I'm not going to put my chickens in any baskets yet. Eggs in baskets. You don't put chickens in baskets, do you?
I mean, you can. There's nothing weird about it. It's more just
Not a poultry farm.
One of those unwritten rules. It's like why you don't walk down the street eating cereal or something like that. It's not illegal. You just don't.
I'd love that though.
Don't do it. That's really weird. Anyway, we'll move on and we'll bring in one Mr. Owen Boldero, who up until a couple of weeks ago was a part of this championship. Of course, we won't talk about Qatar for you because that went a little bit wrong. But
that was a bit of a disappointing race.
Your time here was fantastic, albeit short-lived. You've now moved on to bigger and greater things, but now you're here as our little, Sky F1 pundit to come and give us some insight in qualifying. What goes through a driver's head then coming into a qualifying session, particularly one at the end of a season?
If I was in the position of, is it Ethan Shackleton and Lewis Smith fighting for the title?
Yeah.
If I was in their position, personally, I would just shut off. I would just treat it like another race. You can't think about it as a title fight, because if you think about it as a title fight, you'll feel the pressure, and then the pressure will inevitably get to your driving, and from there you make mistakes. But from just a normal driver's head in qualifying, I think a lot of drivers think about just getting a banker in, because a bank is a really nice thing to get in, because, I don't know, yellow flags maybe in qualifying and things can impede your run and things like that.
Yeah, it very easily can happen. We've seen it time and time again where not having a banker really can cost you in the end. More so than, of course, where the points are scored going into the race. How would you approach sort of the race start, the middle and the end, being in a championship battle? And sort of what level of aggression do you take, and how cautious would you be on sort of the opening 5 laps?
I think it depends how close your title rival is to you. So I actually am not on the stream right now, so I don't know the qualifying positions. But I think if your title rival is right behind you, I think you're in I don't know, say you're 1 and 2 and you're in Lewis Smith's position, I'd personally just let Lewis Smith go and just sit behind him, keep him with you. Just make sure you don't pick up any penalties. Abu Dhabi is quite easy to pick up a couple of penalties, because he's 13 points ahead. Sorry, I believe. And in Ethan Shackleton's position, I think he's very much the underdog. So I think he's just got to throw everything at it in the race. Whereas Lewis Smith, he can be a little bit more conservative. He can drop a few positions.
It's fine.
So yeah.
It's fine. He's we know who you're voting for, Darragh. It's fine. You're going for the Tories. Is that right? You want to do a bit of national service for a year? Is that what we're going with? But anyway,
who said I was voting Tory?
You, when you said Conservatives, it just seems to be apparent in your mind. By the way, meanwhile, Connor Stewart has had an issue. He's out of the qualifying session. But of course, for you, Darragh, obviously you've now moved on. You know, you've joined an esports team in the world of F1. What exciting prospects can we sort of see from you in the future?
I wouldn't say you're going to see much in sort of the near month, because the new F1 24 handling update, I really do not like it. I'm really struggling to adapt to it. The original handling model for the game, I actually quite liked. I eventually got really used to it. And I got quite quick on it. I was top 50 in the world at Austria. I did a 102.6 or something. So I was feeling really quick on it. And this new handling model on F1 24 just feels like F1 23 cars, but with an extra 100 kilos bolted on. I'm really not feeling good on it. But I think in the next sort of 6 months, you're gonna see me in a couple of higher up esports leagues, and I'm hoping to do quite well in them. So yeah, it's an exciting future, and we'll see what it holds.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you very much, of course, for your time this season, and of course today. I mean, I know you're not allowed to be running in the championship anymore, but the few races that we did see you in were always fantastic, and we wish you best of luck for the future, mate.
Thank you. I'll see you guys later.
Awesome stuff. Darragh, thank you very much for coming in, having a chat with us. And he is on to bigger and better things in the world of esports racing. And that's the stepping stone that the Almost Pro Championship can provide when it comes to giving these drivers a platform to refine their craft. Because Darragh, especially, I'm sure this is very fresh in the mind for you. I mean, you know, starting out, trying to learn the grips of a game and things like that, it takes a lot to bed into, and particularly getting that first step into competitive racing, it can be quite daunting, can't it?
Yes, it can. I mean, you settle into it relatively quickly. This is one of the things I can speak from experience on. When it comes to iRacing, not quite there, but on F1, I can tell you, it can be daunting. But also working with a team, with other members of a team really does help progress you forward, and it does help you with your development and with your pace, and really also with strategy and teamwork, and really how to set up a car as well. So multifaceted in the way that it can help you by joining a team. But looking forward to seeing what he could do on F1 24, of course. Lots of different tourneys now that are going on, and some of them, as of F1 24, I believe, are going to have prize pools, which is even better.
Oh, money! That's music to my ears. Can we expect to see you driving in any of those, Darragh Thacker? I mean, you are an Indy 375 winner, is that right?
Yeah, that's not an esports thing, to be fair. But I am. I'll have to click up and say that I am a BPRL Indy 500 winner.
Whoa, no.
Matteo Sardu. Okay, yes, it was 375, but it's the Indy. It's you can't have 500 miles on Forza. So we settled on 375 because that's a normal number, isn't it? So, you know, we had fun. I won. Yeah. I've also won the AEC Tier 2 Season 4 tournament for BRT. Slipping that one in there.
Very nice.
That's about it, though, Zach, if I'm honest. What have you won?
I am a, four-time GT Sport champion. Once in the GT4s, once in the GT3s, in an overall, and I'm a two-time ACC champion as well for the same league. back to back as well, because I'm just that good. One of my most distinct memories of that season was I was leading at Laguna Seca by like 25 seconds, and coming out the final corner, we'd ordered takeaway, but I couldn't eat it obviously because I was driving, so I had it next to me. So I went one-handed, reached behind me to try and grab a chip, and in doing so smashed into the barrier, completely killed the geometry of my car, and had to nurse the car home for P2 in the end by about 10 seconds, which was heartbreaking to me, but in the end didn't actually cost me the championship. More notably, Deegan Fairclough, who is currently leading the way in the 2024 British F4 Championship, when he won his Formula 4 drive, I was there competing on the same track as him, racing him, and I won an e-bike out of it. So that's decent going, I think, as far as esports wins go. But I think the conclusion we can draw from this, Darragh, is there is definitely a reason we're in the commentary booth.
I'm going to be honest, I was expecting you to say very little there. I'm kind of disappointed that you had something to say. No, well done. And yeah, there's definitely a reason we're up here. Because we're better at doing this than we are
And that says
driving.
a lot.
Most notably because I remember I was in an esports team called BRT, and I was driving, and then I also did a couple of commentaries, and they actively said, "Oh, would you rather commentate than drive?" Well, I got the message pretty quickly. No, but it was because they thought I was quite good, which was nice. I mean, they were completely wrong, obviously, but yeah, it's always nice just to be sitting back, having a nice evening, and being able to.
Don't.
Oh no, I have. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, but it's quite nice now just to sit back and relax, and watch people drive on a game that, you know, I've spent many years driving on, and just, you know, critique.
Exactly, because we're allowed to do that now. We are with the connoisseurs of driving. You know, I'm very vocal on skill issues all of the time. I will absolutely slam anyone who does something wrong. And it's quite nice having the privilege of being up here in the booth, because again, it's bulletproof. It's like we are the keyboard warriors of the sim racing community, just with a microphone as opposed to an actual keyboard as such. Microphone, whatever. You get what I'm getting at. Nonetheless, let's focus on the racing, because at the moment qualifying is drawing itself to a close. Lewis Smith, a firm grip on pole position. Ethan Shackleton, who by the way not only has to beat Lewis Smith, but has to do so by 11 championship points, is down in 6th and nearly 3/4 of a second off of the pace.
It's surprising, isn't it? Really. Oh no, that was just maybe. Oh no, that really was contact between Rastaclaw and the Williams. So Marshall's got a time penalty, and so does the McLaren. I'm not terribly sure what went on there. I was on an off-ball camera. But it looked like the McLaren went wide and then dropped the rear end of the car. Anyway, something weird happened regardless, and Theis has gone through. But no, I mean, the Ferrari driver is definitely looking for a little bit of extra pace, because, you know, having your competitor, your championship rival, at the front of the field by a decent margin is not going to be comfortable.
It is not, and it's just going to, like what Owen was saying really about the confidence factor of a qualifying and things like that, it really does put you on the back foot, doesn't it? Because you immediately know coming into this race that you are expected at the bare minimum to beat your rival, no matter what. And then to start the session off in qualifying, you know, 3/4 of a second back, it doesn't put you in a good mindset. It doesn't fill you with confidence. And immediately you're going into that race stressing about whether or not you are going to come out on top in that respective championship. Lewis Smith to the middle sector goes a 1/10.5 faster. Andrea Chenkovan, though, is out there. And I hate to say it, I think Ethan Shackleton's only chance in this race to win the championship is going to be his teammate.
Maybe you're not suggesting some dirty tactics, Zach.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying if it works, mate.
Yeah, that's true. And I've never done that. Oh, got to be careful here, because... Oh, no! Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no. Lewis Smith has been blocked awfully by the McLaren. I'm not too sure who that is, Rastaclaw, but awfully blocking Lewis Smith in that final corner. And if that's going to cost him pole, I don't think there's going to be a very happy Mercedes driver.
No, absolutely not. Of course, we'll be able to speak to him before the race starts. Let's see what Andrea Chenkovan can do. Of course, he's winding his way through the revised final sector. A lot more flowing, a lot more tolerable to drive. Bit of traffic to contend with. Two of the Williams drivers, of course, you've got Wongspat Ravisi and Sonny Leonard, P3 and P4, running very, very nicely indeed. Is it going to be pole position for the final round for Chenkovan? It's an improvement, a purple final sector, but not enough. And Lewis Smith, the championship leader, potentially on course for his first ever championship win in the APC, is on pole position with an 11-point lead in the standings. After qualifying then, it's Lewis Smith from Chenkovan and Mercedes Ferrari front row, with the Williams running out the second row of the grid. Jordi Lansing from Ethan Shackleton down in P6. Tyus Mosbergen from Carl Stewart-Woodard, Adam Watson and Connor Stewart-Woodard rounding off our 10-car field. Of course, 5th-place grid penalty for Wongspat Ravisi. Of course, Toby Marshall, as you see him there. That's going to put Shackleton into P5. But even then, I mean, what do you do if you're Shackleton's position? Are you going to be cautious and try and bed into the race and wait for it to come to you? Or do you just go at it with, well, it's either I win this championship or I go home, off with a DNF?
I think you need to be careful on the opening couple of laps. Of course, you want a position or two, but you cannot push anything silly whatsoever. I mean, you can't really send it down into turn 6. You can't send it into turn 9. Just making sure you position yourself well in the opening couple of laps is where you need to be. You know, a lot can happen. There can be... there can be lots of different things happening. Safety cars, different strategies, crashes, you name it, something can happen. So just making sure that your car is in one piece and you're able to move forward really is the aim for the first couple of laps, I think.
Exactly that, because you never know what's going to happen over the course of 28 laps, I believe it is, here at Abu Dhabi for a 50% distance race. Of course, as we've always done, short quali, 50% race. That's pretty much the norm when it comes to league racing. Has been for well, God knows how many years, in fairness. Definitely since sort of 2017, maybe even beyond that. That's when I started playing the F1 games at the very least anyway. We are meant to be having a chat with our championship contenders of Smith and Shackleton. Shackleton came in and wanted to do it during this period between readying up for the between qualifying and readying up for the race, but it seems that that's not going to be the case. In fact, here he is now. We'll drag him in as soon as we can, very, very quickly indeed. And what we'll do is, Ethan Shackleton, can you hear us? No. Can he hear us? Ethan, hello.
Let's start that.
This is great. Is it going to be telling of his championship? Who knows? Okay, so what we'll do, we'll swap him out. It's fine. We'll do a little switcheroo. We'll whack in the voice of Lewis Smith graphic, and we'll whack him in instead. Lewis Smith, can you hear us? Even better start. This is great. Wow. Okay, so we've got Ethan Shackleton. Ethan Shackleton's joined us. Ethan, can you hear us? No. I think what we can draw from this, Darragh, is it's not Discord's fault. It's merely the championship contenders are so hyper-focused on their driving, they don't want to come and speak to us.
Or can we blow in on you? Could we just put it at your door?
Why is it my
Zach's
fault? I think we should...
Oh, it's more fun that way, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. It more than likely is. What I'll do is, can I mute and unmute? Can I No, I can't do that. I don't have the power. Can either of you hear us? Lewis Smith or Ethan Shackleton, can either of you hear us at the moment in the commentary booth? No. That's a shame, because they're clearly out there driving. Of course, there's not much that they can do if it is their end. So I'll whack them into the waiting room. That is a shame, because I'd have loved to come and speak to them. It's something that we're having some issues with when it comes to the broadcast so far this season, which is a bit of a shame, because it is a skill issue. I don't know on whose part. Maybe it's my part. We'll say it's my problem, but what we'll do, worst case scenario, we'll have a chat with them at the end of the race, because as things stand, it's too late to talk to them on the formation app, because they've got some racing to do, Darragh.
Yeah, they do, and looking at the tyres, going to be interesting. The front row of the grid are on hard compound tyres. Everyone else has gone medium, so clearly, the top two are going to have a little bit of a tricky time off the start. Lewis Smith, Andrea Chenkovan is going to have, maybe some defending to do in the early couple of corners. And with Lewis Smith having been set back in his grid slot, he is going to be having not the best of runs down towards turn 1. Keep an eye out for the second row on the grid.
Yeah, let's do that, because Andrea Chenkovan, if he wants to assist his teammate, I don't know quite to the extent that the two Ferrari drives are in conversation, but it could well be telling of the championship. APC Season 6 comes down to this. here in Abu Dhabi. Let's get underway. Lewis Smith, a decent start from pole position, but look at that from Sonny Leonard, already alongside Jordi Lansing into T1. Andrea Chenkovan takes the race lead, but there's contact, and he's sent round. Lewis Smith is through. Sonny Leonard takes second place as well. There's issues for Thijs Mosbergen and Andrea Chenkovan off the start. Goodness me, what an already chaotic start to this championship finale. Ethan Shackleton is in sight of his championship rival as they run their way round the first sector. It's Lewis Smith from Sonny Leonard, Ethan Shackleton up to third.
Yeah, it can't really have got much better for Ethan Shackleton, could it? Up to third, contact for his championship rival, and I'm sure Chenkovan's going to be sending that to the stewards, whatever they say on that one. But with Shackleton up to P3, that's already a bit of a worry for Smith. I mean, he's on that better tyre strategy, you'd think, with the race possibly coming back to him if he goes hard mediums compared to a medium hard, but you wouldn't really want to be in his seat right now.
You really wouldn't. I mean, in fairness, he is leading the way, which is always a good thing. It puts the pressure on Shackleton. It forces Shackleton to do things differently, whereas, Lewis Smith, he can almost chill his way through this race, but under pressure from Sonny Leonard, and he's already proven that things can go wrong. What if that crash between himself and Chenkovan went differently? Then immediately the tides have turned and the momentum shift of this race has gone the way of Ethan Shackleton. You can never, ever feel safe when it comes to motorsport.
No, you can't, and that's really what Lewis Smith is going to be feeling right now. I mean, that turn one incident, it did look like he took a very wide line and just took a line, really, around the corner. Chenkovan was on the inside, maybe drifting into it, but of course, F1 23, F1 24, the F1 games, of course, having a wonderful replay feature for us to be able to go back and look at what's happened. But we'll have to wait and see until after the race, I think, on that one. Regardless, I think it might also be playing in the back of Lewis Smith's mind. I mean, he may think he's done nothing wrong, but when you've made contact, particularly at the opening corner, particularly for someone in a championship battle or the teammate of your championship rival, it always puts that thought into your mind, and he might lose the lead as well.
He might do indeed. Sonny Leonard had a nice little look to the inside. Bit of contact as well as Lewis Smith loses that momentum. And we could have our two championship rivals going side by side. It's the hards for Lewis Smith. Ethan Shackleton on the mediums. Outside line as they run their way through this very long, very fast left-hander. And Shackleton is through on Smith. But the points swing means diddly squat, and as things stand, Lewis Smith would still win the championship. There's been some issues further back as well. I think Adam Watson has gone round. He has indeed, and that is a shame, I believe. Going through turn 8. That particular long left-hander, of course, revised, used to be that very clunky chicane. Now very much flows a lot better. But Lewis Smith, he knows full well the Ethan Shackleton has to be in the driving seat. Right now, P3 is enough with Shackleton in P2 to win the championship, so he doesn't need to be so aggressive.
I mean, he doesn't. For Lewis Smith right now, it's all about staying in this DRS train. He cannot lose that DRS to the top 2. It would be absolutely disastrous for him if he were to do so. 6-7 laps time, we're going to start to see the crossover period on the tyres, maybe even a little bit longer than that. He's got to hang in for that amount of time in this DRS train, because at that point, from there on in, realistically, the race will come back to him. But it's so difficult to stay in that DRS, especially when the front two are helping each other like they are.
Yeah, they are. So Shackleton takes the lead of the race. That's 25 for Shackleton, 15 for Lewis Smith. If Shackleton is able to get the fastest lap, that will be the championship for him. However, of course, Sonny Leonard in the Williams might well be able to launch a counter-attack, and does. To the outside, already running low on ERS, but going to give it a go. Shackleton, of course, does not want to back down. He's got a championship on the line. Leonard, of course, is coming into this with nothing to lose. He's going to fight it to the death. Side by side through the triple right-hander. Shackleton on the outside. What a move this could well be. The Williams pushes in wide, but the number 7 machine fights back and goes through. Does Sonny Leonard to retake the race lead as Lewis Smith is hanging on in the balance to his championship rival.
What Lewis Smith has done quite well, though, is just to not fight that one too hard, not make a silly move. Oh, it's Toby Marshall's crash.
VSC.
And that's going to be a virtual safety car.
It is. Of course, not quite severe enough to bring out the full safety car. Don't think it's really going to prompt anything in terms of strategy, but this is a great opportunity to save some ERS, save some tyre, and more importantly, just breathe and react to what's just happened.
And really, to be focusing on this restart, you've got to be aware. You've got to make sure that you're looking at that delta eagle-eyed and not be letting it get away from you. I mean, in these top 5, you can see how much our leader is clearly backing off here. There is no way I think really the delta is at that level, because the top 5 are now, you could cover them with a blanket.
You could, and that means that by the time we go green, everyone is going to be nicely bunched up, and this could, well, be a very spicy finish to this championship. It's all been boiling down to this. We've fought our way around the world, and we're on lap 4 of 29 with our 2 championship rivals sandwiched between a top 5 battle of the ages. Green flag wave once again, DRS back enabled, and Sonny Leonard leads us around. Lewis Smith and Ethan Shackleton once again swapping places, both with the DRS. Shackleton, of course, on the mediums, the softer compound of tyre, but Smith is back through into second place. And I don't think that's going to be the last time these two swap places. I think they're going to... Oh, no!
Oh!
Shackleton is out! And the championship goes the way of Lewis Smith. What a way for it to end. And the safety car has been brought out. And he's lost it on the power.
I mean, coming out of turn 7 there, you could see when he lost the position to Lewis Smith, you could see him squirming for grip. You could see the rear end was sliding. Those tyres were not up to temperature. And clearly, over the course of that VSC, they really, really dropped, and their carcass disappeared away from them. But, oh my word. I mean, clearly not up to temperature by the time we got to turn 9, because that's a monumental error.
That really is. And one that has now cost him his 2nd Drivers' Championship. Ethan Shackleton is out of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, of course, here at the United Arab Emirates. And Lewis Smith is going to be jubilated to be able to see the Ferrari out. Of course, not the way that he'd wanted to win the championship, and I'm sure not the way that Ethan Shackleton would have wanted to lose it either. Safety car is in effect, and that means that a lot of our drivers fight their way into pit lane. Sonny Leonard, Carl Stewart-Woodard, Andrea Chenkovan, of course Connor Stewart-Woodard and Adam Watson all in. Well, that takes a lot of pressure off of Lewis Smith, because it means that he is the champion of Season 6. But that takes away a lot of the tension surrounding this race, because now it's a fight for this race in isolation, just for the season finale. There's no more championship fight on right now, and that means that each and every single one of these drivers can give 110% and not have to worry about throwing anything away.
I mean, realistically, Lewis Smith could just retire in the pit lane at this point. I mean, I'm not saying that he should, but he could. There's no real reason other than trying to just having the pride of winning this particular race, his first race in 4, or in 5 even. Oh no, it would be in 4. That's the only thing he's going to get out of this race. I mean, he's won the championship. He's done what he's needed to do by not doing anything. And yeah, this is going to be a much easier evening for us on the maths for sure. It's definitely going to be good for us, but it's not good for Ethan Shackleton. And you've got to say, very surprising just to see him drop it like that on the exit of the corner after the VSC. Clearly not dialed in enough on the end of that virtual safety car. The tyres maybe not up to temperature. I mean, difficult.
It is. It's heartbreaking as well, because to lose it in such a manner when you're fighting so hard, and at that point you don't even think about the mistakes. You don't even think about, dropping it that easily. And that's the heartbreaking thing about motorsport, right, is the fact that, it can so easily happen. All season long, weeks upon weeks, have been leading up to this very moment, and all of those hours of practice, all of those hours of worrying and anxiety and scoring those points to come into this final round, and it's gone with the click of a finger, with a blink of an eye, and that's it. There is nothing more you can do about it. It has just been stripped away from you through your own volition, by the way. He has made that mistake completely on his own, and there's nothing more he can do about it.
I'm also surprised, because that is a mistake that a lot of people made at the start of the game cycle. Again, maybe having something to do with what I mentioned before about people going onto F124, learning the new handling model, and then coming back to F123 for this finale. Of course, relatively unusual, in fact very unusual, to finish a season on a previous game cycle, if that makes any sense to people out there watching. Generally, leagues will try and finish a season in preparation for the new game. So rare that you see this, and maybe a symptom of that we've had a driver losing the rear end in a place where you wouldn't really see them do that at this stage of the cycle.
Exactly. It's one of those things that forces you to be adaptable. And that transition can be one, especially when from game to game it vastly changes. It's not like in iRacing or ACC where season to season, the BOP changes and things like that. There's a couple of handling updates, but it's not vastly different. With the F1 games, there's constantly a revised handling cycle and new quirks to go and learn, new metas to go and learn. It's almost like learning how to speedrun a new game or something like that. You're constantly learning the quirks and what makes each game different, because of the fact that the F1 games are largely simcade in their nature. A lot of it sometimes can be transferable, but a lot of it, the refining things, and once you've learnt one, it's hard to go back to the other. Nonetheless, we'll kickstart this race back off. Lewis Smith, our Season 6 champion in the drivers. Well, we'll start lap 7 and in the lead. Green flag running once again as he leads Jordy Lansing and Sonny Leonard, who of course the Williams has come into the pit lane and is onto some fresh hard compound tyres. What could that mean for the strategy of this race going forward then? Could we see Sonny Leonard have the advantage?
Possibly. I mean, it's difficult to say at this stage, of course. Safety cars are likely. There are only 8 drivers left. You'd say, the chances are low. This isn't quite IndyCar. Cautions, precautions, of course, over there. But I'd be surprised if we get another safety car in the short term. I mean, Geordie here going for the move to the inside. Not going to be allowed to have it by Lewis, who's coming back to the inside of turns. That's outside of 7. There's big contact. Oh, nearly for the second time. Lewis has nearly spun someone around again.
Yeah, Jordy Lansing is able to get back going again, but it's ducking and diving. And oh my goodness me, look how aggressive that was. Carl Stewart-Woodard momentarily leads this race, and this is an opportunity that does not come often. He's going to be fighting with Sonny Leonard as they exit turn number 8, and it's the Aston Martin that leads this race. 5 cars covered nose to tail. Jordy Lansing fighting with Lewis Smith, who's dropped back to P4 in this race, and the 3 of the drivers that pit under safety car are now 1, 2 and 3 in this Grand Prix. Carl Stewart-Woodard, who has not won a race since the Austrian Grand Prix all the way back in the first half of the season, now leads the finale.
Yeah, 9 rounds ago that he won that Austrian Grand Prix, so it's been a while since he has won a race, and same can be said for Sonny. Oh, was that someone going around in the background? No, it wasn't. It was just my eyes. Sonny Leonard as well hasn't won a race either. Even Jordy Lansing in the back. Oh, there's contact. Oh my word. Oh, and there's more contact, Zach, and that is going to be Lewis Smith, who earlier would have been annoyed with going around, may not be too annoyed at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he still wants to go and win it. Of course, change for the lead at the moment as Sonny Leonard battles with Carl Stewart-Woodard, and that's not too hard fought by the Aston Martin, which, by the way, now has a new Lego set out, and I haven't gotten it yet. But I want to, because I've got the McLaren one. Anyway, I've been obsessed with Lego the last couple of weeks, man. It is sad. I bought 2 more sets today and just built them both. None of them F1 though, weirdly enough. I do want to get the big Technic ones, the Mercedes and McLaren. Anyway, just to let you know that Carl Stewart has inspired me to get a Lego set. But look at Lewis Smith, just watching his driving off the exit of that long left-hander, and it is so scruffy. But at this stage, it doesn't matter. He has won the championship. And yeah, of course, like I say, you want the novelty of ending a game cycle on the top step, as he's, in fact, actually left this session entirely. But does it matter? Because as long as you win the championship, what is an extra race win?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's really no other reclaim that he needs to make. I mean, if he stays disconnected from this session, he's not going to be too annoyed, I don't think. I mean, like I said before, he can just go downstairs, maybe check the telly on, spend some time with the family. At the moment that he won the title, maybe get a hug or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, for the others, this is really just another race to win. So for the guys in the championship, it's pretty much over now. And the only people that really could be fighting for a championship, you could argue that Chenka Van Lansing, Stewart-Woodard as well, fighting for P3 in the championship, might be having something to say about that. But for the rest of the guys, they're just going to win this race, and there's only 8 of them in this, so they all definitely have a shot.
Yeah, they do indeed. Lap 9 of 29, and it could open the door for some pretty peculiar results. Jordy Lansing, Thijs Moosbergen 2, childhood friends, the Flying Dutchman, swap places, not for the first time this season. Lap 9 of 29, and Thijs Moosbergen takes to the podium places. Of course, has taken a number of them. In fact, actually, no, only one podium for Thijs Moosbergen. Really? Wow. I'm perplexed at that, I've got to be honest. Of course, really did struggle at his home race at Zandvoort, but his pace has been pretty good for the most part. I think a bit of bad luck, a couple of mistakes have definitely hampered him in his run all the way through, but yeah, I honestly thought he'd have more than that. But as a general rule, I mean, the two Red Bull boys have been running very, very nicely indeed. Let's see what Thijs Moosbergen can do, because the pace doesn't look to be too bad, and with two of our main contenders already out of the running, like we say, it opens the door for some very interesting results to creep in.
And Sonny Leonard, I mean, I'm right in thinking that Sonny Leonard is leading this race, isn't he?
Yeah.
Zach? Yeah, it's good. Sorry, it's difficult for me with the gamer tags and then the names.
I was just going to let you
with
deal
names.
with it for a minute.
Fantastic, thank you, as you would. But no, Sonny Leonard, of course, this is only his third race. Best result was 6th. I mean, he'd be hard-pressed to not beat that at this stage. And then you look back next to Kyle Stewart Woodward in the Aston Martin.
No.
Is that wrong?
No.
Who is it?
Read it again. No, the name is right, it's just not right.
Oh, Woodard, sorry.
I made that mistake,
Woodard?
mate. Woodard. That's what I've gone with.
What did I say?
Woodward. I made that mistake at Zandvoort, and he gave me a big old slap on the wrist for that one.
Sorry.
So don't do that.
I just remember I knew someone called Edward Woodward, so it's just been stuck in my brain for the last 7 years. No, Woodard. Sorry. KSW isn't even shorter, is it? Anyway, Kyle, he's only won that race at Austria. Thijs, who's just overtaken him for P2, hasn't won a race, only got one podium, and that was at Austria, where Kyle won his race. Then you look at Geordie, who has only got a 2nd place. Granted, he's got 4 of them, but he's not won a race. And Drea has only got the 1 win as well. And if you keep looking down in that way, really, this opens the door for a first-time winner, or at least someone who hasn't won a race in a long time.
Exactly that, and that's what we really like to see. Speaking of drivers who unfortunately are out of this race prematurely, let's drag in Ethan Shackleton for his final interview probably of the season. Ethan, I mean, we've reached a quiet point in this race. In fact, actually, he's shown up as deafened on Discord. Ethan, can you hear us? Hello. Don't tell me it's not working again. Oh goodness.
No, he'd probably just not realised we've dragged him in yet.
No, that's true. We'll give him a minute to come back.
He can't even hear us.
He can't. He's deafened, which is a shame because that's awkward. He's been waiting for a couple of minutes, and I said, yeah, we'll wait for a quiet point in the race, but that's not happened yet. His teammate, Andrea Chenkovan, is fighting away with Jordi Lansing at the moment. Of course, Chenkovan has taken 2 wins in his very short stint in the APC and has only finished outside the top 5 once since joining the championship back in Silverstone. I have just seen the status change for Ethan Shackleton. What's going through your head right now, Ethan? I mean, is it anger, disappointment, upset, frustration? What is it at the moment? Or not? No. Oh, wow.
It's typing.
Is it my bad?
He was typing.
Is it my bad? Is it something that I've done wrong?
Right. The thing is, I can't hear him. So it's a Discord thing. Clearly, it's nothing to do with you. Oh, there's a restriction on him talking.
Apparently.
That's what he said. Is it one of those things where you need to push to talk?
No, because
I know that there are some channels where it's like set to push to talk.
No, because you've been able to. You're not on push to talk, are you?
No, but I think maybe it's a role. Maybe he needs a role.
I don't know, because
Kyle
promised us he sort of... No, we don't have that power. We're just commentators, mate. We're not important at all.
Yeah, we're not
change
important.
for P2 very quickly. Kyle Stewart-Woodard versus Thijs Moosbergen, and Sonny Leonard is running away with things out in front. What we'll do is we'll put that on pause then, once again, for Ethan Shackleton, as we discuss his feelings after this race. Maybe after he's just let everything calm down and process everything, it might be a better time to talk to him as the two McLarens swap places. Now, we've been waffling on for quite some time, but yeah, we're not important as commentators. Do you know what? It reminded me, actually. I saw this video a couple of weeks ago in regards to sort of ego complexes in actors. and things, and how actors really fill up themselves because they've got a trailer and all this, and you know, they get pampered and whatever. But then I found out that the only reason they have a trailer is so the director knows where they are. It's not because they're more important than anyone else. It's purely because the hair and makeup in the actor needs to be in the right place at the right time. And the easiest way to do that is to put them in a trailer, because at the very least, they then know where they are. So it's nothing to do with the fact
No, hang on. Oh, wait, take a step back. I'm confused. What kind of... As in, like... when they're filming, they get put in a trailer like a caravan?
Yeah, like on set.
Oh, okay. Because you were talking about trailers, I think we were talking about, like,
not
you know, like
trailers.
the trailer for the movie.
No.
No, and I'm like, but they've already filmed it. No, okay, I got you now.
Yeah, no. It reminded me that the lack of importance of commentators just goes to show that actors are in a similar vein in that respect, in the sense that they're important, but they're not the be-all and end-all, because it takes a lot. As there is a big snap of oversteer from Carl Stewart-Woodard. These are one of those ones that he's been able to hang on to. Oh my goodness me! Thijs Mosbergen has gone round. He stuck his nose in, and well, definitely got a very nasty whiff of the barrier on his way around a couple of times. He's there. He's tumbled down to P4. Chenkovan is through into third. We're on lap 13 of 29. That's one of those corners where you don't do that.
Yeah, is that Thijs Mosbergen or is that Checo Perez in that Red Bull there? I'm sorry, that was my initial sentence, and I couldn't not think about that. No, to be fair, you can see what he was thinking, can't you? I mean, he was looking up the inside, but there's a point where you're just thinking it tightens, it narrows. If you're not going to be completely side by side, that little bit of contact there is going to spin you around, which unfortunate for Thijs, but I mean, we've still got a while. We've still got half of this race still to go, and there's still chances for him to come back, but it's going to be even more difficult from 7 seconds off the back of the duo in front.
Andrea Chenkovan moves his way on the inside and back to the racing line versus Carl Stewart-Woodard, who does have a look, but not enough. Even for Stewart-Woodard, his last podium was at Zandvoort. When it comes to full Grand Prix, of course, he did get one at the Austin Sprint, but it's been a long time since he's even been inside the top 3. So today could be a golden opportunity for him, and he's going to fight it to the death. P2, P3, both the podium. He wants to finish as high up as possible and fights his way back through into second. Nicely done indeed. But Darragh Thacker, I mean, it's your first time here, right? And you're firing shots. Just bang, bang, bang. I mean,
look, it depends. It depends what you think of Perez, doesn't it? Really.
I mean, he's
that
Dutch,
could be a compliment.
So I'm sure
if he hadn't thought that through.
If he'd have called him Max Verstappen, then maybe he'd have liked it. Chenkovan goes through on Stewart-Woodard, by the way, which was off the back of a mistake from the Aston Martin. No surprise there. As Chenkovan goes through. But I thought I was ruthless, Darragh Thacker. Goodness me.
No.
What is it? What's your excuse?
No, I'm sorry. I don't really have an excuse other than I thought it was a good line.
Wow.
So I used it.
No, it was. It was. That was.
If anything, I was, that was more to throw shade on Checo Perez than Thijs. But if Thijs is, I'm sorry, Thijs.
As you should be. He is Dutch, and they will sort you out, mate. They are. They're big.
But it's not like Max Verstappen makes mistakes, is it? At this point.
I mean.
Can you remember? No. Can you remember the last Max Verstappen mistake? Because I think it was Miami qualifying last year.
Yeah, I can deal with that. I mean, Singapore Q2.
That was the car, though. Realistically, they weren't on it that weekend.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I wouldn't put that down to Max.
I haven't actually. I don't really sit down and watch the F1 races very often now, so I can.
You're building Lego, that's why.
Exactly. Do you know what? I built a Simba. Obviously from the Lion King. I built a Simba, and then I also bought a fossil skull of a T-Rex, like a museum exhibit thing. I built that today. I'm quite proud of it because it's quite cool. And that was £45 of my hard-earned money, very much spent well. I've got to be honest.
Have you done the Titanic yet?
No, I don't really have an interest in the Titanic, I've got to be honest.
It's massive. That's the thing, it's massive. There's also a globe.
There is it was 200 quid, mate.
I know, I haven't got it. I haven't got it for their birthday.
Mate, it's probably bigger than you.
No, it is, seriously.
Is it? Wow, that's impressive.
No, it's not.
Is it not? Are you sure?
I mean, it is about a foot tall, if not a little bit more.
I was going to say, it's not
Which
far
is
off
close,
there.
I'll give you that. It's
Yeah,
close.
exactly.
No, exactly.
As Lewis Smith, by the way, because there is a race going on. He's fighting with Connor Stewart-Woodard down the back end of the circuit to round off Sector 1. Back in the session, of course, and that was a nice little move there. Door was left open by the McLaren, and Lewis Smith said, cheers, mate. He's through and passed into 6th with the DRS as well. Doesn't seem like there's going to be much of a counter-attack on the cards. Gaps are a bit spread out, so what we'll do is we'll cross our fingers, eyes, toes, ears, whatever, do the whole head, shoulders, knees and toes, cross all of them, and hope that Ethan Shackleton can hear us now.
Hello, yeah.
Hello. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
We've done it.
We've done it. Ethan Shackleton. Well, we'll bring it back to a more somber level now because of obviously of how this race has gone. What's going through your head at the moment? Is it disappointment, frustration, anger? I mean, how are you dealing with what happened at the moment?
Yeah, anger. I want to swear. I won't. Yeah, I was not happy anyway in quali because my lap got ruined by the Williams, and he said he was an AI, but I checked the footage back. He wasn't as well. So that's good, isn't it? And then under the virtual safety car, for some reason the other Williams was 8 seconds off his delta. I have no idea what he was trying to do. I guess I was frustrated and didn't think clearly, and then drove like an idiot and spun. That bit was my fault, but I don't think the other actions helped mentally, really. Yeah.
Leading up to that, of course, yeah, very, very tough indeed. But I mean, championship finale aside, it has been a good season for you. I mean, you've taken, what, 3 wins in Grand Prix, a number of podiums as well. I mean, there's a lot to write home about in terms of the pace. And, I mean, not the finale you'd have wanted to F1 23, but at the very least, a good stepping stone going into the new game, surely.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yes, definitely. I'm happy with very much the mid-season was brilliant. And even in the towards the start of the season before you come in, I didn't win a race, but I was very close multiple times, probably on the podium most weekends at the start of the season. It's mostly tailed off recently. But what's quite strange is it also has for Lewis as well, I'd say. Maybe over the last 4 rounds. I don't think he's picked up many points either.
No. Hang on. So he'd have got 8th, 5th and 2nd. So 18, 28 plus, was that 4? So 32 points for Lewis Smith. You'd have got, well, no, you would have gotten more. Yeah, you would have gotten way more. You'd have gotten 8, 26 plus 12. So 38 points as opposed to Lewis Smith. So you definitely would have scored more points in the last 4 races. But when it came down to this, unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough. I mean, beyond that, of course, your plan for the race, were you confident that you could have done enough?
Not really, to be honest, because it was completely out of my hands. Even if I won, which I don't think I would have, I'm relying on him to have a poor race himself anyway.
But you never knew. There was always the chance potentially, but I suppose it doesn't really matter now, unfortunately. As things go, that's the unfortunate thing of when it comes to motorsport and how harsh it can be. Sometimes you can be so close and yet so far. But season 7 of the APC, can we expect to see you back? And are you going to be gunning for that 2nd driver's title?
Oh yes.
Awesome stuff. Well, there we go. That's exactly what we want to hear. And well, while the end of the season, as again, like I was saying, not trying to rub it in or anything, hasn't been the best. I mean, the whole season as a whole, being in the shout for the championship, constructors champions as well between you and Andrea. That's always something to write home about. There's a lot of success here in F1 23. It's been awesome to commentate on you as well over the last few weeks back in Spa. Really was the first time you were back. It's been a good season, and it's been, like I say, a pleasure to commentate on you, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we've got in store for season 7 as well.
Well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. I love the commentary, and I enjoy watching the streams back as well, because I get to see maybe some battles I might have missed from my cockpit point of view.
It's true. There is a wider world than just your little bubble on the racetrack. But Ethan, thank you very much for coming in and having a chat with us. And of course, we'll see you back for season 7.
Thank you. See you. It'll be quite a while, won't it?
It will be, yeah. A few weeks. Awesome. Right, take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Thanks, B.
So Ethan Shackleton, unfortunately, not in the running for the championship anymore. Not in this race anymore. Meanwhile, by the way, just run you through what's been going on. Chenkovan, Carl Stewart-Woodard, Lewis Smith, and both McLarens have worked their way into pit lane. They're on to some fresh mediums, presumably to the end of this Grand Prix. And, well, Darragh, what can we expect then, of course, for those on the mediums compared to, of course, Sonny Leonard, who's still out there on those hards that he went in on the first lap of the safety car to come and change onto. What are we expecting from the rest of this race, do you think?
To be honest, I mean, we're still waiting. We're maybe waiting for pit stops from our leading driver and our third place driver, who are on the hards and have been for a long time. Of course, they have pitted, so they don't have to. But I'd be surprised if they can drag those tyres all the way to the end. That being said, the Ferrari of Chenky, Andreas, that is. Andreas, sorry, going very well on that new medium tyre. Very will easily catch Geordie minimum. And then it might be quite a task to catch up to Sonny Leonard if he doesn't pit. But I think this is still up in the air slightly. I mean, the gaps, of course, have opened, haven't they? Let's be real about that. And really, it's just it's a race between whether these mediums can work all the way to the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly, because it's one thing going on to a fresher, softer set, but do you have the confidence to push them all the way to the checkered flag, or will they begin to drop off as it nears? Of course, recently on the in the Formula Sim Racing World Championship over in the world of R Factor 2, they were just at the Istanbul Grand Prix, and what we saw was from Race Clutch, who are a team that are fairly prominent, I believe, on the F1 games, although fairly controversial the last I heard when it came to the F1 game scene. But on R Factor 2 and the wider world of sim racing, as Chenkovan fights with Thijs Moosbergen through the final sector, getting very argy-bargy as Moosbergen just wanted to come into the pit lane, the poor sod. But nonetheless, Carl Stewart gets a penalty and Chenkovan is through into third. But nonetheless, Race Clutch, what they did was they extended their stint for quite some time, and then with 10 laps to go, pitted onto the softs. And on R Factor 2, at Istanbul, the softs are probably only good for 7 or 8 laps or so. So, again, you're trying to go onto a faster tyre. Granted, yeah, faster tyre. But the problem comes is, have you got the confidence to make it last? Because if you, say, went onto the mediums for those final 10 laps, granted, yeah, you're on a slower tyre, but you can push them and maybe extract more of their potential out of them over the duration of that stint.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about that. I mean, it's difficult, really, isn't it? I mean, with the strategy that we've had, with the early safety cars, it's kind of put some of the drivers out of sync with the others. I mean, we can see that with the gaps that open with the different tyres that drivers are going to be on to the end of this race. I mean, we might see a move here for P5 between Lewis, who is going to make his way up into P5, and between himself and Thijs Moosbergen, but you think Moosbergen should come back at him with those fresh, soft tyres. The time penalty will hang over his head, though, to the end of this race. Regardless, though, it does seem like it's transitioning into a race between those on the fresh, medium tyres and those on the hards.
Yeah, indeed so. Andrea Chenkovan, by the way, is putting in some good lap times on those fresh mediums. He's easy to the end, surely, on 3-lap-old medium tyres. Just at the fastest final sector as well, for good measure. 17 seconds to the leader of Sonny Leonard. Can he get those hards to the end? I mean, what would that be, 24 laps on the hards? Surely you're in puncture range by that point.
Probably. I mean, like you said, these mediums easily to the end. There's no doubt about that. The hard tyres for Sonny Leonard definitely will be in puncture range, I think. I mean, we're looking at, 7 more laps. Going to be 24 laps old come the end of this race. So, yeah, it really is. Oh, no, actually, no, that's wrong. It's going to be 25 laps old because that's, of course, 17 laps, finishing lap 21. So 8 more laps, yeah, 25 on them, and they are really going to be in puncture territory. I think, though, he's committed, isn't he? He's gone too far to now come into the pit lane because otherwise he'll drop like a stone, and I don't think he'll really be able to recover those spots.
Exactly that. I mean, again, we've seen how tough it is to close and to make moves stick with how prevalent the slipstream and ERS and everything like that works around Abu Dhabi. It means that Sonny Leonard, of course, would then have to be on the back foot, whereas right now, I mean, does he want to take that risk? Because it's not like he's say, you know, no offense to Kyle or anything like that, as we'll get back to that in just a second. Lewis Smith versus Tyus Mosberg, and this is a battle that's been going on for quite some time. And Mosberg, and like you predicted on those fresh softs, launches a counter-attack and is back through into P5. But say if you were a Kyle Stewart-Woodard, right, and maybe slightly off the pace and not quite able on pure pace to rack it up with the top guys, maybe this is a strategy you try and risk. But if you're a driver in Sonny Leonard's position, I mean, would you need to?
I mean, yeah, Sonny Leonard, I mean, he's done 2 races. He's finished 6th at Brazil. He's finished 8th at Qatar. He's really just got nothing to lose. If he gets a puncture, so what? I do think if he got a puncture, it'd be the last lap or 2. Realistically, the worst he can finish in this race, even possibly with a puncture, is 3rd. I mean, if he pitted now, he'd probably come out 3rd, but he'd lose that chance for victory, you'd think, unless he could miraculously pull back that gap on some fresh softs to Chenkovan. I mean, yeah, it's a difficult conundrum, isn't it, really? I mean, at this stage, if you are Sonny Leonard, you are just nursing the car home. You've got, what, 6 laps to go. You're just trying to make sure that the car can get to the end. There's nothing more, nothing less about it. The problem is that gap of 12 seconds is going to be starting to be absolutely chewed into when Andrea gets through here.
It is indeed. Let's see, Jordi Lansing versus Andrea Chenkovan. Of course, the Ferrari Constructors Champions of Season 6. And coming into the UAE with absolutely nothing to lose, apart from the driver's title, which Ethan Shackleton unfortunately did lose that, of course, with a mistake off the exit of the very fast long left-hander at the bottom of the circuit. But nonetheless, through the first sector, of course, one of the most satisfying sequences to hook up around the lap. Andrea Chenkovan is close, but not quite close enough going into the heavy braking zone, is more interested in just setting up that slipstream with the DRS, presumably some overtake maybe as well. Actually, not even on the button, trying to save it, I'm sure, for that charge to the front versus Sonny Leonard. He goes to the right-hand side and is not quite late enough on the brakes. Can Chenkovan, with the time constraints left in this race, can he afford to be so cautious with the Red Bull?
I'm not too sure. I mean, it's taken a little bit longer here for Andrea to get through than I thought it would. Oh, it looks like he should be able to get through at turn 9. Yeah, he's easy, like, waited with the DRS, and now should be able to pull away. That 10-second gap in 5 laps. I wouldn't want to be Sonny Leonard! As Geordie nearly does exactly what Shackleton did a few laps, well, half the race ago.
That was a very loud Darragh Thacker for such a small man in stature. I mean, I'm impressed. I didn't know that. Yeah, no, I thought, you know, with you couldn't get that loud. Oh my goodness me! Has Sonny Leonard? He's gone. He's got a puncture. Has he? No, he's fine. No, he's fine. He just had a spin. I thought because he was revving the car up so much that the car was just not cooperating. But he's gone round. 20-lap old hards. Of course, that's not going to be doing any good for his tyres in an already precarious situation. A mistake out of the final corner then, and this race surely has to go the way of the Ferrari.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, he's thrown away all chances of winning this race. I mean, it was going to be difficult anyway, but now impossible. With, 4.5 laps to go, you've got a driver on 14-lap younger, softer tyres behind you. I mean, it's probably going to be curtains here. The defending will have to be Kevin Magnussen-esque here from Sonny Leonard if he's going to have to keep this position.
And Kevin Magnussen, of course, his defending is reminiscent of a good defender, I suppose. Yeah, we'll go with Maldonado. He's effectively been launching moves that, oh my goodness me, nearly doing a Shackleton. That is what it's going to be known as from here on in for the APC. Off the exit, that final corner at, not the final corner, well, I suppose it's the first corner of the third sector. We'll go with that one because I have no idea what the corner number is, I've got to be honest. Lap 25 is about to conclude. Andrea Chenkovan is half a second off Sonny Leonard. The good news is that unlike with Jordi Lansing, Chenkovan has got time to burn because he is going to have such an easy overtake. There's no reason to go for a risky sort of 50-50 move when he can just sit, wait, chill, and go for that 80-20 chance success move of paying off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could just wait for the DRS. Oh, DRS games are being played here. And who's got it? Sonny Leonard's tried to, brake get that DRS, and he has actually picked up the DRS in the Williams, but he's had such a poor exit that he's going to have to make sure he gets ahead into this hairpin, because on the exit down through turn 7, he's going to be left for dust if he doesn't get through. Let's see. Down in towards turn 6, that red light flashing on the back of the Ferrari. Leonard looks for it, thinks better of it, but I mean, let's have a look at the exit here, and that is not a pretty sight for the Williams driver.
Definitely is not at all, and the lead slipping away from him more and more. Chenkovan is through, and he's competed. Of course, he got the debut win at Silverstone in what was a fantastic battle to the end. He's since only finished outside of the top 5 once, and that was in a sprint race. So in Grand Prix racing, he has never finished outside of the top 5 in the APC. His worst finish was a P4, and this, he's on course to take his 3rd victory in just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 races. A 33.3% win rate for Andrea Chenkovan in Season 6 if he's able to hang on to it. What a record that could well be. And, I mean, hypothetically, right, Chenkovan would have been a huge adversary for the championship had it not been for missing half the season.
I was going to question your maths here. So 1, 2, 3, 4,
9
5.
races, 3 wins.
Oh yeah, you're right, aren't you?
Of course
God's
I am.
sake.
Of course I am.
Don't say of course you are.
What did
You're
you get in
rarely
maths,
right.
GCSE? Did you get? Oh, you got a 9, didn't you?
I got a 9. Yeah. So actually, careful on that one. Meanwhile, Sonny Leonard is coming back at Geordie. I mean, these two now are fighting over what is P2. And they are really going at it tooth and nail because they don't have to worry necessarily about the drivers behind. More DRS games being played by Sonny Leonard, trying to get the DRS down towards turn 9, but so slow off the exit of the corner again. Not a hope of getting back in front at turn 9.
No, and even if he did, he wouldn't have the grip to actually pull the move off either. Of course, if he's able to stay within 3 seconds of Lansing, then maybe there's a chance, but something tells me that's probably not going to be happening, I've got to be honest. What I can say is that I got a better grade than Darragh in all 3 sciences, which I can take. 1 less in maths, and what did you did triple science as well? So what did you get?
I got 887.
I got 988, mate.
Oh,
boom. Mate, and I was the first year of COVID to actually do exams as well. So, you know, it is what it is. But then you went and actually did A levels and I didn't, and well, we all know how that turned out. What did you? Hang on. Well, yeah, what did you do? You did French. Did you do
French government politics and geography?
German or just politics?
Government politics.
Government
and politics.
Oh, government and politics. I thought it was German
GovPols, as we call it.
Oh,
no,
yeah. GovPols leading up to the Jenny Lex. That's what we like to see.
Into the Jenny Lex. I'm loving the Jenny Lex at the moment because I was a GovPol student.
It's true. You know all the IFPOLs.
I'm a nerd, basically. That's
he's got a Jenny Lex spreadsheet, ladies and gentlemen. But I can't knock Darragh Thacker spreadsheets because they have on a number of occasions saved my commentary career as of recent. It's fine. Because I definitely 100% take credit for them. I don't. I always make sure to drop Darragh's name in whenever I use them. It's fine. But yeah, there's the Fab Racing, the mini bike championship I do this season, has been so helpful in regards to actually knowing what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'd have no idea, and that was Darragh's fault. So I knock him, you know, I put him down a little bit, which isn't difficult because obviously, you know, he is a little man, but he is all right. I'm fairly grateful for him, I suppose. Sonny Leonard has had more issues heading on to the final lap of this race. Chenkovan has just got one final tour of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix circuit in order to bring it home. Yas Marina, of course, as it's
there you go.
I got there in the end. I was about to say Marina Bay, but I know it's not Marina Bay. That's Singapore. Yas Marina circuit before he brings home not only the Ferrari Constructors Championship, but also his 3rd race win of the season.
Oh,
he's had
no.
a sublime race. Oh my goodness me, heartbreak for Sonny Leonard, and that is not the way you want to end your season, especially this close to the end.
Yeah, that's to retire on track, so I'm not too sure what the ruling is on that in this league, but that may not be looked upon too kindly. Regardless, out of this race. And I was going to say, just for reference to everybody watching, Zach is never this nice to me. I trust you that I have not blackmailed him in any way, shape, or form. But let's not take away, really, from Andrea's race, because even though he's kind of kept himself away from all the chaos, didn't disconnect, he's driven flawlessly.
He has done indeed. It has been sublime from the Ferrari driver who joined this season as an unknown. He won on debut and is now going to do it twice more with victory here in Abu Dhabi for the final race of the season. And it goes the way of Andrea Chenkovan, who is the Constructors' Champion with Ferrari. P3 in the Drivers' Championship after just 9 rounds of a 14-round season. That is incredible. And watch out for this man as the seasons go on in the APC. Jordi Lansing and Kyle Stewart-Woodard for the first time since the Austrian Grand Prix at round number 5 is going to take to a podium place as well. That was a decent race. It had drama, it had intrigue, it was a roller coaster of emotions all the way through. An anticlimax really in the championship, but well, we're used to those sometimes, aren't we, Darragh?
Yeah, I mean, when you commentate over enough championships where you're like, this could be amazing, and then it ends up
and then it isn't.
ending in a bit of a squib, you just kind of get used to it. Yeah, so it's a shame that we didn't have that championship battle all the way through, but I'm very sure that Lewis Smith is going to be very pleased to have such an easy ride to the end. I mean, that disconnect. Could you imagine if if Shackleton didn't crash and then Lewis Smith had that disconnect, drops himself back down and finishes the race 5th? I mean, it would have been nightmarish stuff for him. Kind of lucky that it happened the way it did.
I mean, that's going to be good for Lewis Smith to know, but I mean, also, I suppose the twist of the knife for Ethan Shackleton, right? Because he knows that if he was still in that race, obviously a big if, he would have had a good chance of gaining some points in the championship. Because let's have a look at the final race results. Where did Lewis Smith finish in the end? And what would that have done in terms of the points? I think it was P5, of course, just waiting, of course, for the game to confirm that. But we can live in the hypotheticals, the ifs, the buts, the maybes, and just for a second, it was Andrea Chenkovan, of course, from Jordi Lansing and Carl Stewart-Woodard, the top 3. Mosbergen then from Lewis Smith, who took the top 5, and that's 10 points. Of course, going his way, which means that fair enough, yeah. Lansing would have Shackleton would have needed to win this race, but if he had, he would have slam dunk won the Grand Prix. In fact, actually, if he was in this race and did win, Lewis Smith would have been 6th as well. So that just goes to show what could have been for Ethan Shackleton in this race. But alas, we can't live in the ifs, the buts, the maybes. We have to live in the absolutes. And that is it when it comes to, of course, the championship battle. There you can see he must have outscored Lewis Smith by either 12 points or 11 points and the victory, but in the end wasn't quite enough. Ferrari are then the team's champions, but Lewis Smith, the Season 6 Drivers' Champion of the Almost Pro Championship. And I know you haven't been here for the vast majority of the season, Darragh. Thacker, thank you, of course, for joining me for this last little stretch. But, I mean, you have to give your hats off to him. Because looking at his results, right, with a run of form like that first part of the season, of course, a couple of hits along the way, but overall consistency and just doing what he needs to do in order to secure a championship. He hasn't always been quickest, but he's always done enough.
Yeah, and I always go back. My example that I always go back to in that regard is recently Will Power, 2022 IndyCar Championship. He won that season, a 17-round season, and he only won one of the races. So just the consistency of being up there every single week, making sure you're thereabouts, making sure you're close for the win, maybe just picking up a podium, beating your rivals really is all you need to do in a season such as this, and full credit to him for doing so, because it is difficult over the course of a 14-race season. Not the shortest, not the longest, kind of in that middle phase. So to come through in the manner that he has is very impressive.
Exactly that, and fair play to him as well. Not the way that he'd have wanted the season to go. I'm sure he was looking forward to more of a a Titanic battle, because that's always the way you want to win these things, right? You don't want it to be won easily. I mean, as much as you hypothesize and you hope that it's easy, you always want a hard-fought battle to the end. In fact, what we'll do is I'm just looking in the in the broadcast booth and the waiting room, I do see our champion here, Lewis Smith, who I'm sure is going to be all smiles on his face to round off another game cycle and his first Drivers' Championship as part of the Almost Pro Championship. Lewis Smith, I mean, in the end, a very roller coaster race for you in the sort of coming into it, of course, with that pole position and a very tentative race start, that contact with Chenkovan, and then the hard-fought battle with Shackleton up until his retirement. I mean, what was going through your mind through the vast majority of that race?
Thank you. But first thing I gotta say, obviously, commiserations to Ethan. But I think one heck of a driver for one. The fact that he missed 2 races in the sprint, and we're still talking about a championship on the last race is crazy. So, he should be proud as well, as much as myself. But he drove fantastic all year, consistent all year. Unfortunate, about today, but yeah. But in terms of myself in that race, I'd say it was. I can't lie, it was nervous to start off with. I was very nervous, and obviously the pole helped with the nerves, and then from there it was like I was just getting into so many incidents, and trying to be cautious, but then trying to still be aggressive, and it just wasn't really working. Obviously, luckily, it's not cost me anything, but yeah, it was a weird race for definite.
I'm sure it was, and I mean, not like I say, not necessarily the way you want to win it, with the fact that Shackleton DNF, but in the end, the championship is the championship. Reflect on your season as a whole, though. What sort of highlights have you had throughout it? I mean, obviously, winning the championship is going to be one of them, but from the first part of the season up until last week at Qatar, what was the journey like for you, and what experiences were you most pleased with?
Obviously, going into the season, from last year, obviously there was a lot of growth for myself on the game. The pace improved quite a bit. Obviously, winning the first race was amazing, and then I think from about round 3 onwards, been leading the championship since then. So that's been like for me a highlight. But then I think the biggest race for me where I think it kind of made me kind of realize I'm not top tier driver, you know what I mean? Like I can actually go and win this championship was Kota, because that was like a track that I usually don't like, and then I managed to find the pace, and that was a good race. So I think that was a big catalyst into obviously me getting the championship win.
Awesome stuff. And I mean, for this season, it's been not perfect, but you've definitely shown the pace, shown the consistency. Moving forward now in the APC, obviously onto a new game with F124 and season 7 around the corner with a proposed calendar on the cards. I mean, we're scheduled to start on the 3rd of September if things go well. What are your plans? I mean, are you even joining us for season 7? And if so, I mean, are you looking to come back firing on all cylinders and take a double?
Yeah, I should be. Obviously, I've done my registration, so that should definitely be a thing where I come back for season 7 to kind of defend the championship. There's I can't lie. There's a couple of factors that could potentially stop that. But as of right now, I would like to say I will be coming back. Obviously, the new game is a factory reset for everybody, so it's going to be interesting. I think that first season on the new game, season 7, is going to be something crazy, because no one's going to know who's actually got the true pace to go and potentially go win the championship. People like myself who may have been leading the championship, I could easily drop to the back now. So I think it'll be an interesting one to see. But as soon as I get the new game, I guess we'll see what this handling model is feeling like, and we'll go from there. Really.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you very much for coming in and having a chat with us. Congratulations once again for the championship. Go and celebrate. I'm sure with however you go and celebrate. I'm sure you've got your your ways. I mean, how are you going to go celebrate?
I did say that if I won, I would have a drink. I'm just gonna leave that at that one. But
just a drink.
I will have a. I did say I will have a drink if I want it today.
But I guess it's not squash. We're gonna go with.
No, it's
nice.
not. It's not. A little bit stronger than squash.
Love it. Awesome. Make it a double, I'm sure. Just because you deserve it. It's been a long season. Thank you very much for coming and have a chat with us, Lewis. Is there anyone you want to shout out before you let you go for season 6?
I can't. I don't have anyone to shout out, unfortunately. A bit sad, but hey ho.
Is what it is. Well, shout out yourself because you deserve it. Again, go and enjoy your strong squash, and we'll see you back for season 7.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Awesome stuff, Lewis Smith, our champion in the Drivers' Championship for the 6th season of the Almost Pro Championship. As season 7 is around the corner. Let's take a look as to the man behind it all then, Carl Stewart-Woodard, who's coming into the commentary booth off the back of a good result. How's that happened, Kyle? Or hasn't it? Because he can't hear. I swear to God, if this is the same issues that's been plaguing everyone else. Oh, Darragh, it's your fault, Darragh. It's been working fine up until the point that you got into the booth. I think you broke it.
Yeah, it's my fault, isn't it? Definitely. It's always Darragh's fault, isn't it?
It is.
Never Zach Sweeney's
Always
fault.
coming up short, Darragh is the way to go. That's what I like to say. Here he is, finally. There we go. Carl Stewart-Woodard is joining us in the commentary booth. And Carl, like I was saying, it's off the back of a good result.
You know what? I felt really competitive today. I was very happy with that. I don't know what was going on with everyone else. It was quite a mad race. From what I could see, you spoke to Ethan, so I'm not sure. But from where I was looking, it looked like he went on his own. So that took me by surprise. That did, if I'm really honest. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. I finally got a bit of pace back. It's quite funny. I don't think this is actually true, but I noticed today. I said to my brother, I've noticed that for the last 6 races, I've forgotten to put my sync lights on around my TV, which kind of mimic what's happening on the TV. So I was like, let me just put it on today and see if that makes a difference. And look, I'm on the podium. It might have made a difference, it might not have. But I think that's my lucky charm going forward.
It's the lights. Okay.
It's the lights. It's the lights around the TV.
All right. Well, to each their own, I suppose. We've all got our lucky charms. I suppose it beats a sock or something like that, as other people use for their lucky charms. Yeah, I mean, have you not heard of people driving with lucky socks and things? People have one specific.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can see that, but I thought it just meant they just had a sock lying next.
No, mate, no, they no. I mean, they might. Again, who knows? Sim races are very weird. But off the back, you're struggling there. It's fine. Me and Darragh were laughing about socks in your absence. It's absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Love it.
But season 6 is done. It's dusted. What, obviously, from your perspective, have been some of the big highlights to take away from what has been a very long but very enjoyable season?
It's been great, and I obviously love seeing a championship go down to the last race. That's just the best way to end the championship. But we've lost a couple of our fastest racers, Drew and Oliver. They've left us due to other commitments, unfortunately, which is a bit sad. And we've not been able to fill up the grid again, which has been a bit of a disappointment. But you know what? The drivers that we've got, they're committed. 8 of the 10 of them that are left are all signed up for next season, which is very exciting. And they're just we've got some really good drivers. I know today was a bit crazy with 3 DNS, but we've got some really good drivers right now. We hope to keep building on that. You coming on board?
I think he's dropped out again. Is he back? Kyle, hello. Nope. Well,
That's gone well.
That has gone really well. Well,
we'll give him one more go, surely.
We
he should be able to get back in.
He should.
There
He's
he
back. You were at you coming on board.
You coming aboard in race 6, and obviously that's so some of your classic lines. Are they slicks? We can't forget that. And I'll forget that. That's really helped, obviously. Sort of, it's been great for our social media, and you've just been fantastic. Darragh, I'm looking forward to hearing today back as well. Well, I'm actually probably on the stream this week. I actually had done some overtakes. So I'm
no! Don't watch the stream back. Please watch the stream back. I watched the stream back. I didn't get your name.
Well, you know what?
did, you
Zach's
did.
never been. Zach has not been able to pronounce Bayesian the entire season, and I've told him how to pronounce it in private comments to private chat. But here we are. So it is what it is. But it's been good. Like, and I can't wait to do this again in the next game in September with obviously with the 8 drivers that we've got, and hopefully we can fill up the rest of the spots over.
Well, I think that might be as good a time as any to say goodbye to Carl Stewart Woodard, who of course doesn't have a second W in the name, Darragh Thacker. We'll let him back in just so he can do his thank yous and everything and his final shout outs. Kyle, of course, you're struggling to stay in the broadcast booth with us, but just round it up before we lose you again.
So really, I need to thank you just for coming on. You've been fantastic, and obviously the two stewards, Ed and Jay, the drivers have been quite well behaved for the last few races, so they've actually not had a lot to do. Although I've seen an incident come through already today from Shaq, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's happened there. But they've been great. They've been fantastic. They're committed and they're still here. Owen, he only had a couple of races with us, but actually to have a graduate is fantastic, and hopefully we're going to find him a role with us in the next season, and we're looking forward to that because obviously he's great. And then Adam Watson, obviously the other admin of the league, he's been a massive help. So all around, it's just thanks, and thanks everyone who's obviously followed through. It's been a great season. I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that final race. And thanks very much, guys.
Awesome stuff. Well, take care. We'll see you back for season 7 when that happens, because without the very hard work of Carl Stewart Woodard, nothing of it would be possible. We wouldn't be here in the commentary booth. No one would be out there on circuit, and there's no race without those in the background. And just goes to show, once again, how little of importance commentators are, because we add absolutely nothing to the racing. We just come here and chat rubbish about it and throw our judgment into the ring. But Darragh, of course, it's been a very short-lived experience for Season 6 here for the APC for you. But, what have you made of it? Well, how did you find that race and of course, the championship battle as well?
Yeah, you're not expecting a full season overview, if I'm honest. But no, it was a great race. We saw some good fighting. It's been a good story over the championship. Even just looking through the standings, looking through the race results that we've had so far, we've clearly had a good tussle for the title. Even with not too many drivers in the league, it's nice to see that we've still got competitive racing, because that can be a worry sometimes that smaller grids equal, spaced out cars more often. But we've seen drivers really stick close in terms of the championship picture. So it's been great to see. And like you said, roll on season 7.
Let's bring it on, indeed. Of course, there you can see on your screen the provisional calendar. Very much that asterisk is prominent. Just to say, it could be the calendar, might not be. Who knows? Bahrain, Australia, China, Imola for the first of 2 Italian Grand Prix. Then we head to Austria once again for the sprint on the 1st of October, followed by Silverstone, Spa, before we head to a week's break and back for Zandvoort, similar to Season 6. The second of our trips to Italy, followed by Baku, Kota, and then that 3-race sprint to the end. Sao Paulo, Lusail, and of course here at the UAE for round 14, potentially on the 10th of December. If you are interested in getting involved, do make sure to hit up the Discord and sign yourself up. Anyone can get themselves involved, provided you don't have an eSports handle at the back of your name. It's the Almost Pro Championship for a reason. It's for those who are just starting out on their journey on the ladder in eSports and sim racing. Somewhere that is a nice, safe, communal aspect to get yourself into competitive league racing that will save you from the dirtiness and the disgrace that is the open lobby sometimes in the F1 games. Of course, my name has been Zach Sweeney. I've had Darragh Thacker alongside me to talk you through each and every single bit of the racing action over the duration of round 14. You've been watching along live, of course, on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel and, of course, on the APC Twitch. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications, all that malarkey to stay up to date with everything that comes your way in terms of sim racing here on JPB, but also for more Season 7 news when it comes to the APC as well. Like I say, if you're interested in getting involved, please do. Plenty of seats available. And even if you're just joining us as a fan, we thank you so much for watching. But unfortunately, that is going to conclude Season 6. We'll be back, hopefully, within the next couple of months when we head for Season 7. It's goodbye for now.